Start by reading the oath that cabinet people take before they start their job. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter, so help me God. Yesterday on TV, if you were watching, and it was reported, but you could also see people crossing the border in violation of our laws that are passed under that Constitution. I'm asked by Iowans, Senator Grassley, what are you going to do about the crisis at the border? My usual answer is, and I hope it's not interpreted by my constituents as avoiding my responsibilities, but I say we've passed all kinds of laws over the last several decades, making it illegally to enter the country unless you come here with our permission. So there's enough laws on the books, but the laws aren't being enforced. I'm glad that we're finally holding a hearing where we can discuss the unprecedented national security and humanitarian crisis the Biden administration has created at our southern border. U.S. Customs and Border Protection recently announced that it had 1 7/10 million encounters with illegal immigrants at the southern border fiscal year 2021. That's the highest number ever recorded. It's higher than the individual populations of at least 11 states. Of that 1 7/10 million, over 1 4/10 million encounters took place in the last 8 months of fiscal year 2021, when the Biden administration was in office and congressional Democrats had a majority in Congress. So, in a mere months of unified control of the federal government, the Biden administration and congressional Democrats have presided over 1 4/10 million encounters with illegal immigrants attempting to cross the southern border. That, on its own, is an astounding number, because under this administration, children have been detained under the same conditions for which congressional Democrats loudly and repeatedly criticized the previous administration. Make no mistake, this crisis is a direct result of irresponsible policies, reckless policies, dangerous immigration policies pursued by the administration and by you, Secretary Mayorkas, and political leadership of the department headquarters, ICE, and Customs and Border Patrol. Don't just take my word for it. On March the 10th, Reuters reported that the government of Mexico was worried that the Biden administration's asylum policies were, quote, stoking illegal immigration and creating business for organized crime. It's been reported that cartels are getting rich. You have to pay to them to cross the border, to cross the Rio Grande. Former Chief of the U.S. Border Patrol, Rodney Scott, sent a letter to congressional leadership on September the 11th, stating that, quote, the seismic shift in border security and immigration policy that was initiated on January 20th, 2021, and, to quote, created the current crisis at our southern border, and that this crisis constitutes a national security threat to our nation. And all you got to do is go back 3 or 4 months. We arrested 2 people from Yemen that were on the terrorist list of the United States. Scott served as Border Patrol agent and federal law enforcement agent for over 29 years. and served under 5 different presidential administrations of both parties, including the Biden administration. He said that what he witnessed under this administration was, quote, a lack of any meaningful effort to secure our borders. In his professional assessment, quote, the U.S. Border Patrol is rapidly losing the situational awareness required to know who and what is entering our homeland. Mr. Scott also said that Secretary Mayorkas was, quote, choosing to ignore the sound recommendations of career government leadership despite his own admissions that he agrees with them, end of quote. This sorry state of affairs is entirely preventable. Unfortunately, due to the reckless policies of this administration and Department of Homeland Security, it was also entirely predictable. When you terminate physical barrier constructions, when you severely restrict the ability of ICE to deport illegal immigrants, when you terminate the Remain in Mexico policy, when you roll back asylum cooperative agreements, when you gut Title 42, when you openly support sanctuary cities policies, then you should not be surprised when there's a surge at the southern border. When you allow the ACLU and open border immigration activists, rather than career law enforcement professionals, to dictate the terms of your immigration and border policies, then you shouldn't be surprised when record-shattering numbers of people start showing up at the borders to take advantage of that situation. When you run DHS like it's an abolish ICE fan club, you shouldn't be surprised when you have an immigration crisis on your hands. The most solemn responsibility of the Department of Homeland Security is to protect the people of the United States. One of the most solemn responsibilities of the President and Secretary of the United States is to uphold the rule of law in the United States, according to the oath that was taken by everybody in the cabinet. In choosing to actively ignore the immigration laws passed by Congress, and in choosing to pursue policies that encourage unprecedented levels of uncontrolled illegal immigration to the United States, this administration and this department have failed on both counts. I'm glad, after several months of trying to get this hearing, we finally have an opportunity in public to discuss with these leaders these issues and to hold these leaders to account. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.